All right, welcome, church family, to Dcc Wrapped 2021. I am joined, my name is Ben Kaempfer, by the way, lead pastor, and I'm joined by our wonderful, illustrious co-host, William Jacob Colle, the executive pastor, the guy that makes all things happen around here at this church. Monica Sanchez, who does so many things. We have recently titled her our cultural architect here at Downtown Community Church. And as well as the probably most talented person that ever walked these four walls, Sofia Fernandez. And so we just want to share with you.
Sofia Music.
Sofia Camille at Sofia Camille Music.
Follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Spotify, all the things.
Just platforms, you know. No, we're here. We want to talk a little bit about just kind of what's been going on this year. Spotify does this big wrap-up, so we thought, man, it'd be fun to do that. And as we were kind of thinking about it and praying through this, the verse that came to me was Psalm 145, verses 4 through 8. It says this: "One generation shall commend your works to another, and shall declare your mighty acts. On the glorious splendor of your majesty, and on your wondrous works I will meditate. They shall speak of the might of your awesome deeds, and I will declare your greatness." And I love that because it just says, hey, we're going to speak of God's awesome deeds. And then verse 4, he says, one generation shall commend your works to another. And the reason that they did that was because if they didn't tell of the great works of God, then it's possible for them to miss them. And what we know, because we're on staff, is we see God do a lot in and through the people of our church. And it's awesome to see. It's awesome to watch. But because we sit front row, we oftentimes get to see what happens through you. We get to see the different branches of the church and how people are going and living out their faith and how life change happens, how gospel movement happens as a result of that. And so we just thought, man, we would love to spend a little bit of time at the end of the year just recapping and saying, man, these are the incredible things that God has done. So we're going to talk about some highs and some lows, some tops and bottoms, some goods and bads, some, however you want to say it, the good princess and the evil princess of Disney. I don't know if that's a Spotify thing or not. The princess and the pea, maybe. Anyways, but so we just kind of want to go through and just say, man, God has done some awesome stuff, and there's also been some struggles and some difficulties in between that, but God has used that to grow our faith and our church as a whole. So why don't we just kind of lead off? William, why don't you tell us what some of your top things of the year were?
No, it's been fun. It's been a crazy year. I think we look back in like January and we're like, that was 2021? Like, are you kidding me? So like my like hidden high is that Ben became an iPad pastor.
Ooh, yes, huge.
I still try to resist, man, but I got it right here, so I can't.
The low of that is like Ben will be up there reading, and like he could be in like a translation nobody knows, and we're like, okay, well, either he's making this up or he's like he switches a little translation button up there.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
He tries to hide it. He tries to hide it. Instead of using the little stand, he'll like lay his iPad flat.
Hey, there's no shame, Pastor.
Yeah, I know, man. I didn't know that I was such an anti technology. Like, oh, the future. Get off my lawn. But anyway, here we are.
That's God's word,
Yeah, the word of God for the people of God.
Yeah, no, for real. My high was, in February we launched our building campaign, and that's kind of nuts to think. In February we launched a building campaign, and then like in August we moved in. Like that is insane. And just like how it's been really cool seeing how the Lord provided to make this happen, to be able to share that story of God's faithfulness with the church and to see like the church rally around that, between, the fundraising to make it happen to, being online for 6 weeks is like it's a high and a low. But but to see the church like rally around that and say, no, we're doing this. We're going to make house church happen. And to have so many people up here helping, get the place done.
And that was even a cool story with the house church, because the model for our house church kind of framework came when COVID first hit. We decided, okay, we can't have a big service here. I think at the time it was like you can have 50 people or less. And so we spent 2 hours in a staff meeting creating a framework and all the things that we would need for a house church model. And then we got at a staff meeting, and 2 hours later, after we had this whole thing vetted, all of a sudden, boom, you can't have more than 10. And it was like, dang, what are we going to do? But we were able to bring that model and that framework back. Yeah. So it was cool to kind of see how one translated to the other when all of a sudden we needed to say, let's do something different as opposed to just having church at a different place.
Yeah. What about you, Sophia?
I would say I think I have a top ministry moment and then like a top personal moment. I think my top ministry moment was definitely releasing DCC Collective's first EP.
Dude, that was awesome. That was awesome.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, William, did you know that we recorded the EP in February?
Insane.
Like, it
Yeah.
feels like 5 years ago. But we recorded it, we released it, we like put it out into the world all in 1 year. And that was this year. So that was definitely my ministry high.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
It seemed like there was, from my perspective, it seemed like there was a shift in the worship, in some of the creativity in the church as a whole. Would you agree with that? Why do you think that that is?
Oh, I definitely agree with that. I think that the whole recording process and the whole writing process brought the worship team together and made us all a lot closer, just because we're not only now as a church singing songs that other people have written and we're like, oh, this is a great worship song, but like we're creating songs and we're writing like instrumental parts as a form of worship that I think is a lot more intimate, and like it brought out, I think, the best of all of us, and it required each of us to like individually pursue the Lord more in that, but then come together to do that was really cool.
I love that. And I think part of the thing that's cool to me about that is it's one thing to, like you said, hear somebody else's song and say, oh, we could play that. But another thing to say, people are writing these songs. God is using his spirit to inspire people to write words and lyrics, and that is not for an exclusive group, that we can look at our church, our congregation, our context, and say, God, how can you minister through music this way? So I just want to say awesome job with that. That was really a cool thing that you guys were able to do, create, pull off, and I think our entire church benefited from it.
Thanks. And then my personal top moment of the year was definitely my mom getting baptized on my birthday, June 22nd.
And the outfit change. Don't forget about that.
Okay, so here's the story behind that. My mom got baptized in the second service. For the first service, I was wearing a t-shirt, and my mom has this thing. She's like, you cannot wear t-shirts to special occasions. Like, I will literally come downstairs from my room, she'd be like, you are not wearing a t-shirt to dinner tonight. So, but I really did want to wear my t-shirt. My outfit was popping. So after the first service, I went to the bathroom and I changed into a shirt and a blazer, knowing that my mom was going to come be baptized. She didn't know that I had changed, but Jeff called me out. He was like, oh, your daughter even outfit changed. And I'm like, I can't believe you just told my mom I wore a t-shirt to
Dude,
church.
you can't sneak nothing by Pastor Jeff.
And he probably said that the slowest possible.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so now you got an outfit change. If you ever heard Jeff speak, we love him. We make fun of him about it all the time.
But yeah, that was definitely high. And it's something that was also like brought about by online church, because my mom lives in Orlando. So ever since we started our online church, she's been watching online and just tracking, and she came up to visit for my birthday in June. And something that she had been saying for a long time is like, I want to be baptized, but the church that I feel like is my home church that I watch the most is DCC. And now that I'm up here, I'm going to take the opportunity to get baptized.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Mom?
I mean, if you guys know me, you know I'm the Hope Program Director. So my top moment of this year was getting a newly built kids wing, nearly triple the size of what we used to have. We have so many more classrooms, and it's really been a high to see the kids. Like, they walk in and this space is all for them. And personally, for me, it's nice to have them contained in one area. It's like, okay, all the messes and all the things that break are limited to this space right here, and I'm no longer the person to fault for any broken thing in the church because all of my kids are behind that wall. But it's been cute to like have them look at all the decorations in the hallway and have a favorite classroom that they like to go to. So that has been my high for sure. But another high is that this year I got the opportunity to step into leading our neighbors team, our serve team on Sunday mornings. And I really like, not to like talk about pride, but I really pride myself on this specific goal I had to get our volunteer teams to reflect the diverse ages of our church. So I know that it feels like we have a lot of college students that go here, but we have people of all ages. And so I was like, I'm going to get parents to volunteer on the team. And I have 4 moms who regularly serve on the team, and even people who like are young professionals. And so it's been really cool to see us. Like, we're not just a college church, all right? If you take anything away from this.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good part too, right? Because people see and they walk up and they see who is greeting, and they see who's the ushers, and they see who's at the coffee bar. And I've always said that we have a lot more generational diversity than what it looks like. But the problem is when you have so many young people who are 27, 28, 32, they're young career, professional, married, kids, small children, they look like they're a senior in college, and now granted they have great skincare regimens and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But it kind of makes
They're really
everything
hip.
look younger.
They're up on the styles.
100%.
They're on TikTok, on Fashion Talk,
Yeah.
Skincare Talk.
That's a thing.
Is
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. You take the interest you have, talk. So if you like books, book talk. You like fashion talk.
Cleaning talk is my favorite.
Ooh, I love cleaning talk. I love organization talk.
This is why you're our cultural architect.
I'm just saying, neither one of y'all said Jesus talk, so.
We stay off of Jesus talk.
Oh no, that's awesome. For me, I'd say there's a ton of highs, and a couple of them. One is I'd say just in general, like seeing God provide for the space that we have, right? I mean, there's so much of the vision of the church of reaching people, of continuing to house ministries, and this being a place that is utilized for kingdom work and for the community. It's just really cool to see how God provides, right? We've never been the church that had all the financial means in the world, but God has always generously provided for everything that we needed. And so it's just cool. It's another one of those things where it's like, it's just, he just works and moves and provides, and that's been really cool. I'd say beyond that, I love baptisms. And so it's cool to see people just stand up in front of their church family and say, Jesus has changed my life. And that never gets old. The confetti cannons that go off never get old. I think it's been really cool to see two more things. One would be, it's been really fun to watch as the years have gone on, to see people who were at DCC who have moved to another place, another space, go and do incredible work for the kingdom. I've had the opportunity to have another conversations with people like David Clark or Gabby, who used to go here, or Zach Frappart or Scott McCoy, and they're just going overseas, Africa, Europe, all kinds of cool places, and doing cool things and reaching people for the gospel. A lot of them doing stuff for unreached people groups, and some of them in really remote places. Yeah. And so it's kind of cool to see this little seed that you plant and water, and all of a sudden it just takes off. And the last thing I'd say is the staff. Like, honestly, it's cool for me to sit back and watch the growth of everybody on staff and how they have developed in their gifting, in their maturity, in their wisdom, and their leadership. Our church is directly proportionate to the people who are leading it, and you guys have done an awesome job of it. And so it's just cool to see everybody have marked growth throughout the last year. So that's been a cool thing for me, kind of on the inside, just to watch everybody in their different positions grow and thrive.
That's good.
All right, staff wrapped. Who's your favorite employee? The pressure's on.
It's a tie between Monica and Sofia.
I was gonna say there's a right answer here, and I think it's mine.
I'm just gonna say mine is Allie.
I accept that. Allie's also my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, Sofia's my favorite.
Yeah. Anyways.
No, it's okay. We're related.
Yes, that's fine. If you didn't know, now you know. But if you find out it's a lie, don't get mad.
Don't tell the Hope kids.
So we wrapped up our high moments of the year, but I want to get some numbers in here. Let's wrap up our sermon stats, all right? So we had probably about 12 different sermon series that we covered this year.
Okay.
All right, I want you guys to reflect and think about, what do you think, if you had to pick the top sermon of the year in 2021, what do you think it would be? And I'm going to tell you what the numbers say after.
I'm going to go last.
You want to go last? All right. Sofia can go first.
I think this is definitely biased because I'm going to go off of what I think, not what I think other people benefited from the most. I would definitely have to say 7. I have reasons. These are my reasons.
Okay.
I think the first sermon, I think it was Laodicea from the 7 series. Maybe it wasn't the first one. Oh, that was Ephesus. I don't know.
I think Ephesus was first.
Whichever sermon was about first love. I think that was definitely the most listened to / downloaded sermon. Revelation, not an easy book to conquer. So I think that if given the chance to be guided through it, people will take it. So that's why I think 7, or one of the sermons from the 7 series.
Okay. I'm going to go with Take the L.
Okay.
Honestly,
what does take the L mean?
Take the loss.
All right.
So I'm hip. I'm cool. I know what's happening. Look out.
And we got to qualify that because people thought that meant like take the L train.
Yeah. Well, you thought that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. People over 30.
Yeah.
He said people. He is people.
Hey, I'm mid-30s, man. I'm making it. No, I guess really that was, I think it was my favorite series that we did. So it was like a look at the disciples and how they continually like screwed up. And I thought it was a creative series and a creative like way to kind of look at how man, we all kind of make mistakes, yet Jesus still uses us, and he can still use you even though you've made mistakes.
All right, so I'm going to say pragmatic choices. It was either we did a series at the very beginning called, what was it? Counterfeit? It was the Idol series.
Assumptions.
Hidden Assumptions. I really like that one because I like the way in which just approaching idols and saying, hey, let's take down some idols. Let's not have that as an idol, is to know that there's something in my life. The reason that that's an idol is because it serves a purpose. It fulfills a need. And so I have to first identify the need that serves before I take down the idol, because if I just take it away, something's going to fill that need. I need to know how Jesus fills that need. January is usually a really... January kind of launches back into stuff, so much people will track then. I'd either say that or something in the relationship series, Are You the One? People love some relationship series. People don't like to do it.
Yeah,
right?
they don't take the advice, but
That's why we keep listening. We actually did it. We wouldn't need to
do you
listen
have the
to them
stats of how many breakups came from the relationship series?
I personally may or may not know of one, but I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. But I'd say that, man, I don't know. If I'm just talking about like personal favorites,
Yeah.
there was actually, honestly, well, I don't know if it's just because it's recent. The first week of Awe and Wonder, I really enjoyed. I really taken kind of like backing up and saying, let's not really talk about us. Let's just be in awe of God for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that was probably, and again, maybe that was because it was, Sunday before last, but that's one that really stuck with me. It's just like, man, I just don't spend enough time taking a step back and say, God, there is absolutely no reason that I should be able to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
If I had to project what my favorite onto our church body would be, is Full Send Summer. One, do you guys remember that sermon video?
That was so
That
good.
was
That was.
the
That
guy
belly
at the
flop.
end, the belly flop. That was
It never got old.
It never got old. Like you laughed every single time. I always love when we like work through the book of Acts as a church. I know maybe people are like, all right, get it over with. We do it every summer. Feels like every
Dude, it's a
summer
long book.
every summer we start in Acts 1. Which I support, and everybody talks about like, oh, we gotta be an Acts 2 church. We gotta be an Acts 2 church. So like, let's keep reading Acts 2. But I loved it. I specifically remember the Luke Brueggemeyer, who used to be on staff here. We miss ya. He's in Atlanta now in
shout out to
seminary. His sermon that he talked, it still leaves an impression on me about how we treat people that would be identified as other as people inside the church. That one really left a mark on me.
Dude, I love what he said. I remember that too. And he said, I thought this was so insightful, that our greatest fear isn't just the people that we other, it's being othered by the people who we feel like is our tribe. I was like,
Yes.
That hit.
yeah.
It did hit. It hit different, if you will.
Yeah.
And then when he was like, oh, if you're not being other, or if you don't think you're someone like being who others somebody else, then like you are basically.
Yeah,
Like
it's a level
everybody
of
does it.
self-awareness of it to know that I have the tendency to do it regardless.
All right, if that's not the most downloaded, y'all need to go back on the podcast, find it. and
Yeah,
listen.
go find it, listen to it right now, pause this, go do that, and then come back, because here is...
Then gas up Luke on Instagram.
Yeah. But here is the DCC Wrapped sermon series. It was, can I get a drum roll, please? That's really sorry. Maybe Sophia can like add a sound in the edits. All right, our most played series was Are You the One?
Hey.
Makes
classic.
sense.
There it
Makes
is.
sense.
1,831 plays.
Okay.
Do
so-
we even have that many people at our church?
I don't know, but I hope that 1,831 people are now living sanctified lives and are pursuing Christ first, and then their partners, spouses second.
I like it.
All right, guys. So we have a podcast. All of our sermons go onto YouTube, Spotify, even Apple Music or whatever it is. That's kind of lame, though.
Podcast
Apple
is like lame.
Podcasts?
The podcast.
No,
app?
you don't use the podcast app.
No,
you got
use
Spotify.
Spotify.
You use Spotify for everything.
I'm gonna out William. He uses Apple Music.
And Ben also uses Apple Music.
I use the podcast app too. I have an iPhone. What am I supposed to do?
I use an Apple phone.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
sorry.
Anyways, all right. How
It's
many
ridiculous.
podcast downloads do you guys think we got this year, 2021? Take your best guess. I'll tell you, it's more than 100.
I'm going to go with
Insightful.
15,142.
All right.
Is this like Price is Right? You can't go over?
This is whatever we want it to
Yeah,
be.
what are we going
What
to
do
win?
I get if I win?
If you win,
card.
you will win a first-time guest T-shirt.
Yes.
Could at least be a neighbor shirt?
yeah. You can
Okay,
get a neighbor shirt.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to guess downloaded or just streamed?
Downloaded. Or plays. I'm sorry, plays.
Plays?
Yes.
Just that one sermon series had 1,000. I'm going to say 10,000. Just
10,000.
even.
Even.
Interesting.
All right. So you were 15,100 something. You were 10,000. I'm going to go 15,200.
All right.
I'm going with the just above William. So
Classic.
anything over
Classic.
that, yeah. I was going to go one. I think you were like
Should have gone
15
one, as I
15,000.
did. Price is Right version.
It's like infinity and one. All right. Let me get a better drum roll than the last time. Okay. It was an improvement. All right. It was 20,651 total podcast plays in 2021.
I really underestimated us.
Yeah.
I know.
Double.
That is, I
That's
can't
nuts.
conceptualize 20,000 of anything, honestly.
What's crazy too is there's a lot of people who actually just like showed up to church. That's like listens on top of
Yeah. So what's crazy? This is
Yeah.
crazy. This is a question I got for you. This is a wrap. So we had a total of 84 countries. I know that the podcast was listened in. Outside of the United States, what was the second highest country?
I've suddenly forgot every country that exists.
All right, we got to hurry. Let's
I'm
go.
gonna go. I'm going Mexico. I'm very popular in the Spanish-speaking countries.
I'm going to say Canada.
I'm going to go with Brazil.
Japan.
What?
Wow.
Japan.
Oh.
Dude.
Yeah, didn't
That's
see that
kinda
coming, did you?
Yeah,
cool.
no, not
My
at all.
people. My
Not at all.
people.
Japan.
That's-
Yeah,
Wow.
that's wrapped.
Okay, so if we're going to talk Wrapped, let's talk about what the people really came here for, the music. If you came for DCC Wrapped, you came for the
Yeah,
music.
of
100%,
course,
of
of course.
All right, so we're going to switch things up a little bit. So I know our top 4 songs that we have played or worshiped to on a Sunday morning. And so I'm going to read a line from one of those songs, or
gosh.
one of each of those songs, and you guys are going to have to guess which song it is. You guys can also guess.
I just want it to be known that I am horrible at this. Like,
I will also want you guys to know that I have started a staff rumor that Ben doesn't listen to music.
that's true.
Yeah.
Whenever they talk about music, they look at me. They're like,
Oh, you know music?
Anytime he knows a song, oh, what was that song that he knew?
I don't know, but I don't think it's safe for work.
I think you're correct.
moving right along.
Anytime Ben knows a song, we're very surprised and proud and proud.
Proud.
Of
Thank
course,
you. Thank
of
you.
course.
Thank you.
Okay, here's the first song. It's easy. Okay, ready? Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you're moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me.
Rest on us.
Yeah,
Yes.
rest on us.
Man, I had no clue what that was called. I could sing. I'm like. Okay,
Okay, you're doing the rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
I got the tune.
Yeah.
Rest on us.
Rest on
that's
Us
what
by
I think it
Upper
is.
Room, #1 played song on a Sunday morning.
It's a great song.
I think I only know that because whenever I do lead worship, which is very few times, I always lead that song.
It's always that song.
It's always that song.
You have another song, the No One
No
Beside,
Beside in Spanish.
in Spanish. Fun fact, we have never done that song not in English and Spanish.
Huh.
So anybody know the English words to verse 2?
Not
No,
at all.
'cause
I
we've
couldn't.
never
I
done
couldn't
that.
tell you.
Can I say that's not specific to this year, but that's one of my top things that you have implemented as you've led is trying to do something from a genuine place of who you are and say, man, I want people to be represented in different places and spaces. And so when both you guys lead songs and you do that in Spanish, I just think it's this beautiful picture of the whole of the gospel of different tugs, tribes, nations, and people. And so I just think one thing I love about it is that you guys do it, and two is that it comes from a place of authenticity. It's not like if I got up there, it'd be a train wreck, right? But I think uno, do, you know what I mean? Like, but it's one of those things where it's like I love that you guys do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think one of my favorite stories from just incorporating Spanish into our worship more was I think maybe a few months after we started doing Spanish, and I think it might have been at the beginning of this year, somebody brought their friend from South America who only spoke Spanish to DCC for the first time. And we just so happened to be singing in Spanish that Sunday. And had we not sung in Spanish, they wouldn't have understood anything or wouldn't have really gotten to have a moment of worship. And they just really expressed how much they appreciated us singing in Spanish. And so just, you never know who's going to be in the building and how they worship, what language they speak. So it was really special to be able to lead in that way.
I love it. That's beautiful.
I love that.
Okay, next one. Let me see. I'm going to make it a little bit harder.
Ben was like, that was already
Yeah,
hard. What you
okay.
talking about?
Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God. That's it. That's all you get.
Ben, you got to know this one.
Jesus sought me when strange. Go on. Oh, Come Thou Fount.
Yes.
There it is. There it
That's my
is.
favorite song ever. That's literally my favorite hymn, just so we're clear.
I was like,
yeah.
he's got it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my
Wait, that
favorite
was one of
song
our top
ever.
4?
Yeah.
Dude, hey, shouts out to hymns.
Yes. In case
I
you've
feel so known right now and seen.
never noticed, we do a hymn almost every single Sunday. And so that was our top hymn.
Very
Nice.
All right. Here we go. Ben, I'm really going to
good. I like how
challenge
this
you
has
to
turned into
answer.
Ben trivia.
Yeah.
Can
know
Ben
it.
get it?
All 3 worship leaders, and I'm like, tell you what Psalm says.
Okay, I'll do a verse because we all know we don't know the verses. Let all my life testify you alone.
I've never heard that line in my life, I don't think.
Surrender.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, man, I really didn't get it.
Wait,
Really?
how does it go?
Let all my life.
Oh! Yes.
It's always verse 2. It's always
Verse 2 will get you
Never
every
put
time.
anything important in verse
Yeah.
2. But Surrender. Fun fact. Surrender was my #1 song on my Spotify Wrapped this year. And I really did not think it was going to be.
You
when
and
I
I
heard-
are so different. Mine was an Olivia Rodrigo song.
Respect. That's what I wanted mine to be, but
I have Apple Music, so I didn't get a Wrapped.
Yeah, same. And I don't listen to music.
I feel really
so-
judged. I feel it through the camera. I
Yeah.
feel judged right now.
everyone kind of just like cricketed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so finally, the top. Well, I won't give it away. Let's see. What part of the song will I choose? For this we know, the world was not abandoned for its sinfulness, but redeemed through Christ alone.
I know. I'm not
Bro,
gonna
I
say it.
love that. Whatever it is that In Christ Alone?
No.
That's your real guess?
In Christ Alone, my hope is found.
The place you found me, King. Come on. You
The
said
place
that's
you
your
found
favorite
me.
song.
Which one's the place you found me?
Oh Jesus.
Page's
Oh,
song.
yeah.
Page's song.
That one's dope. Yeah. I'm not good at titles, man. I just like once you start going, then I get it. You know, like I'm good at names or faces, but not both. So there's a connection that misses there in my
Yep.
brain.
So that was The Place You Found Me, written by our very own Paige Peterson.
With the famous line. Read the line.
The famous line.
T line, capital T.
You want to read? Do you remember it?
Oh Jesus, I'm tired of chasing after things that never died to chase after me.
There we
Love
go.
it. Quit chasing after stuff.
All right. And for specifically, The Place You Found Me, that was actually our top streamed song off of the entire DCC
Makes
Collective
sense.
EP.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how many streams we got this year from that song alone?
My guess is going to be 5,000.
If you win, you get a DCC Collective crew neck.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh, that is a better prize than
If
mine.
you're watching live, write it in the comments. I don't know. 5,001.
Hey. Don't say 5,002.
Obviously 5. No, I'm one.
One. Okay.
One.
Yeah.
stream?
One.
stream.
He's doing the
I'm going
Price is Right deal. He's trying to go
Y'all went
lowest.
Well, The Place You Found Me got a total of 10,973 streams this year.
That-
Okay. That's
That's
pretty wild.
insane.
That's so
Double.
cool. That's so cool.
That is
Yeah.
nuts.
And not only that, but to follow in the podcast footsteps, we were in 87 countries.
Ooh.
Bro, what
this
three
year.
were we missing on the sermon?
I don't know. We'd have to go back and look.
We'll have to run
Yeah.
a test or something.
I need to get Luke to come back and preach so we can pick up those last 3 countries. That's what we need to do.
So obviously, United States is the first most streamed country. What is the second top country
Oh, Japan, obviously.
I not to copy Ben, but I'm also say Japan.
I'm going to go with China.
Drum roll. The Philippines.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Interesting.
All sitting there trying to like figure out why.
I'm like,
Who do we know?
Do we know anyone in the Philippines?
Yeah. Just trying to think like, who do we know in Japan?
That's how I felt about Japan. I was like, I don't know anybody in Japan. But yeah, Philippines.
that's awesome.
That's wild. That is very wild. So we want to talk a little bit more about some of the low moments. Basically, one of the things that we know that happens is it's common to talk about. Man, here's all the incredible things that happen. Here's just the super positive points. But James 1 talks about this. It says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kind." And the reason is because the reason you have to let it finish its work is so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything, right? And so there's a development component to the trials. Our faith doesn't grow unless it's tested, right? We have to flex that muscle to be able to use it. And so one of the things I would love to just hear is like, what are the things that you felt like, man, this was a really difficult, maybe it was a really stretching thing, and then what you felt like God kind of was teaching you through that process?
Sure. I'll start us. I'd say, as much as the building was the high, the building was also very much the personal low. That was a very stressful season for us. As you can imagine, like, we were like, okay, we're going to close the church for, I think we said 4 weeks to start, and it ended up being 6 weeks. And so talking with the contractors, trying to figure out timeline and everything, and there was a microchip shortage I'm sure a lot of people had to deal with, but we personally were waiting on these microchips, and we were like, where are they at? We will fly to Mexico to pick up these microchips.
That's where they were. Yeah.
But we couldn't like turn the AC on. You can't turn the AC on. You can't paint. You can't lay the floor. It was just like this snowball effect. So the low of, just like the stress of like, okay, we're closed on Sundays, as the series was called. And we're up here trying to get this done. Everything just like feels like a mess, like a bomb has just gone off. And then we're like, we got one more week of house church.
Yeah.
We got one more week, and then we're in.
We promise.
Yeah, and so that it was very stretching, And looking back, it wasn't like the fact that we got all of that done in 6 weeks is insane. Mm-hmm. But in the moment, every day was just like, oh my gosh, like you get done, and you feel like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Mom, what you got?
Not to sound like a broken record, but again, my high was the kids' wing. My low had to be building a specific kitchen for the kids' wing. All of these people were here. I spent 3 hours of my life trying to put together a toy kitchen. I had a power drill and everything. I put it together, had to take it apart. Hannah Valdez, who was one of our interns over the summer, her and I just like toiled and troubled over this toy kitchen. And from that, I learned that I will probably pay somebody to put things together if I ever have children one day and I get them a toy. I'd never want to do it again. That is my personal high, my personal low. But I'd say like a low that has affected my ministry, but has honestly provided an opportunity and has been really stretching is with the Hope program, a lot of our kids live in this neighborhood called South City, and that neighborhood is under construction. So all of those tenants have moved because they're tearing everything down to rebuild it. And so a lot of our kids who've always lived in the same places and made transportation super easy have moved all over the city, and some have even moved out of Tallahassee. So planning out like where to get kids, who to pick up where, it's been very difficult. However, it's provided a lot of opportunity just to build connections. Like I pick up a lot of kids in my own car now, and it gives us a time to just sit in the car and talk, and we get to bond I get to bond with the scholars in a new way because I'm not a mentor. I just run the program. So it's actually been really special. The low, I've spun it into a positive.
That's good. I like that.
What about you, Sophia?
I think for me, to go along with the building expansion lows, was definitely more spiritual than anything. I was emotionally and physically exhausted. I remember calling Ben one day and I was like, I can't do it anymore. I need to take a day off.
I remember one day I like threw up. I was like, I have to go home. We were all like falling down like flies.
I remember that you were trying not to go home and we were like, Monica, go home. That was so funny. I was living with Monica at the time. It was everything about it felt like summer camp. But spiritually, it was really hard, surprisingly not being able to just be with everybody on Sundays and like not having Sunday mornings. And it was kind of frustrating because in January I had given this talk to the whole worship band about how our relationship with the Lord and our walk with the Lord can't be reliant on Sunday mornings, and how if it's so easy as worship leaders to rely on our worship on Sunday mornings as like our only time of worship with the Lord. But if that is like your only time and you're filling up, then you're not able to like pour out and lead as well.
Yeah.
So then when the time came for me to like, you know, do what I had been trying to teach the entire semester or the entire year, I didn't do it. I was like so frustrated. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been talking about this the entire time, but now that we don't have church, I feel like so dry almost. But it really challenged me to like be in the Word more, and really strengthened my relationship with the Lord outside of Sunday. So it was a low, but it turned into a good thing.
I can see that, though. I mean, that's one of those things where you can say that, and it's not that you didn't mean it, but you don't realize how dependent you are until you can't have it anymore, right? And I think that's kind of like the James point of saying, man, there's a purpose for this. It's the development and the maturation, and you have to go through that trial to be able to experience that reliance and dependence. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'd say for me, there's a couple things. So one would just be in general, same building, but the building from the perspective.
Sprayer.
Yeah.
The paint sprayer.
Don't get me started, man. There was a method to the madness. But I think that the difficult part about the building more than anything else was the end of August to beginning of September, really through the month of September, is the busiest time of the year for us. Mm-hmm. It's when college students come back. It's when school starts back, both, Leon County as well as colleges. So many families are here. All that stuff happens and everything kicks off. Groups launch. Our Sunday services, we usually kick off a new series. We always, Hope
we
kicks
relaunched
off.
Project Tallahassee.
Which was
September,
massive, which was definitely a high. I mean, that Allie did a phenomenal job of
yeah.
leading that. On top of doing all that in a new space, but it was the exhaustion of jumping from one fast-moving train to another and seeing the toll it took on our whole staff. Mm-hmm. But man, that was the difficult part. I was so proud of how everyone was able to, in the middle of that exhaustion, because you can't be like, all right, so we're just not going to do anything this September, right? The way that they sacrificially loved and served, that was unnoticeable to the congregation. It just seemed normal, right? Because it's like, oh, this is what we do in September. Nobody knows. Everybody's exhausted, and we're in staff meetings having conversations about making sure you're taking care of yourself. And so that was I think a difficult season for sure. But it was really cool again to see how all that worked. And I'd say just kind of personally, one of the more difficult things about this whole year was just continuing to love and lead and guide and shepherd a congregation in the middle of COVID, right? Yeah. There are so many waves and variants and things to take into consideration, and on top of the fact that it all becomes so hyper politicized, and how do you love, serve? You can't do anything devoid of implications of what you think or what you mean or what you believe or what that stands for or what side of the aisle you're on, right? And even if you don't care about that or implications, you're trying to make good decisions. That has implications towards it. And so I think that was a difficult thing. I mean, it continues to be a difficult thing, right? But I think that's one of the things that really kind of drove for me a sense of dependency and saying, okay, God, you are the main thing. And I think there was a level of it that was refining, because either Jesus is central and we're going to let a lot of other things divide us. And if we let those other things divide us, then those things are really idolatry, because anything that separates us under the umbrella of Jesus, not even just saying like, oh, you go to a different church, but I mean like relationally separate, the priesthood of believers. It's just idolatry, right? Yeah. And so it's become, I think, for us a really refining thing to say, okay, we're not going to get this perfect. We don't claim to. Good news is Jesus is. We're just going to do the best we can to love and serve the people that God has given us the best we can. And so I think the continual just kind of thinking about it, praying about it, and figure out what's the best thing and the right thing to do and the loving thing to do has been difficult. But I think for all of us, it's kind of drove a sense of dependency on God as well as an awareness of who's in our congregation and how we can love and serve them best.
Yeah.
I think, too, amidst all the COVID things, we can give a huge shout out to Dylan and Jenna for just the way that they poured into the college students, like really trying to sympathize and empathize with them. Like, a lot of people didn't get a graduation, and so like making events or like the senior send-off dinner that we had in the spring, and all the freshmen that are coming in, or the freshmen that had come in the year before who never got to meet anybody because everything was online. Just really taking them in and pouring into them and spending time with them and doing life with them. Like what they did for the college students kind of coming out of COVID, I think really impacted our church.
Yeah, and I'd say alongside of that, I mean, Delaney crushed it with kids and family stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that ministry has grown and thrived, and getting into the new building and all the kinks and all the things to get worked out, and on top of that, same with COVID still being a thing, and how they want to be intentional but responsible, all that stuff, and it has just thrived. The way that Delaney has been intentional and cared for the families of our church and the kids of our church, and to see how it has flourished, because I mean, honestly, that's probably, like, statistically as a percentage of growth, probably the fastest growing place in our church right now, and that's directly because of the fact that she has just done an amazing job of leading that ministry.
And starting a youth group on top of that.
Yeah, by the way, we started a youth group. That's a high.
Which is great, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, cool. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this guy up. So, dad jokes. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been super fun. Or we've had fun, at least.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys have had fun. Whether you are watching live or online later or in the podcast or whatever, we're just thankful that you are a part of Downtown Community Church, and you make this place happen. And we're just so grateful for that. So it's been a great year. It's been an exciting year. And next week, we're actually going to be online again, as a lot of us are going to Passion Conference on January 2nd, and continue to kind of give us a little bit of a breather. But next week, Ben and I are going to be talking about the future, what the future looks like, what culturally, man, there's so many things that are changing, so many just big shifts, I really think. And so for us as a church, how do we respond to those things? And then us as DCC, how do we, what does the next year look like? What are the things we're going to be focusing on and kind of striving after? So really excited about that. Looking forward to having you guys join us then. And we will be back in person January 9th, 9:15, 11. It's going to be great.
Love you guys. Have a great beginning of your Christmas season. This is the first of the many days of Christmas. Think about that.
Merry
Think
Christmas
about
on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Merry Christmas.